Okay, so the breakthrough with the childhood healing, guys. Last night, okay, so I got home off work, right? I was fucking dogged, man. I was beat. I could barely move. I took my shower. I did my things to get ready for today. You know, have everything ready. And by 6:30, I was done. I was ready to lay down and relax. Like I said, you know, I try to get in bed around 8 and be passed out around 9. You know, it just all depends. So 6:30, I lay down in my bed. I took a bong hit. I laid down in my bed, and I was gonna relax. You know, watch a movie, pass out, watch a movie, whatever. As soon as I opened my computer, something inside me said, "Richard, stop. You need to take care of this right fucking now. Right fucking now." Like it was screaming. I mean, within 30 seconds, because I sort of sat there confused. It was so loud and so important and so like real. And I was like, wow, yeah, okay. And I shut my computer and I'm like, child work. I knew immediately. I was like, oh my God, my inner child's like fucking screaming. I was like, what the fuck? And so I laid on my back and what I did was, what I've been doing is I've been breathing, even with my yoga, some of my yoga moves, when I breathe out, you know what I mean? I can't do it. It's hard. I got to get in the rhythm of it. But you want that humming, that vibration. You'll feel it in your nose. And when you do it, so I'm laying there, and for some reason, like, you just know, like, guys, we know what to do. We have all this innate knowledge. It's just trusting ourselves and doing exactly when we know, when we're screaming at ourselves, you know, to just do something different. We got to do it. And so this is very hard, guys, because you know, they don't want this information out there. This information that I'm giving right now, they do not want out there, because this is their grand illusion right here. This is, you know what these fuckers are? They're just like Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz story, with that old little man that just sitting there pulling on all those controls, right? You know, he's pulling on all those controls, making the smoke blow and making these crazy noises and these huge things, and it's scary. And then they look behind the curtain as this little, you know, petite fucker that's just, you know, pulling strings. And that's what this thing is, man. Okay, you guys remember I was doing my child work and I rescued my 4-year-old self right around in there from these aliens, right? And they looked like aliens, but it didn't make sense. I was like, man, and after I had that experience, you know, 6 months, whenever it was, a year ago, and I had done the video, it just didn't make sense. Like, I'm like, man, like, it was just too easy, too comfortable, too, like, they're trying to give me, I felt like somebody was trying to give me something, like, to send me on another route, you know, like, come on, these fucking aliens looking exactly like, you know, E.T. and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, you know, I haven't put any importance on it because I knew I was being tricked, but I just, like, I can't get any further because it just won't allow me. And the thing I couldn't figure out was, why am I not being able to get further? Like, I'm doing everything right. This is the reason now. I'm figuring it out, guys. With dumping all this biofilm and now having been on this cleanse for so fucking long now and creating this environment that they don't want to be in, I have weakened them. I have gotten rid of God knows how many fucking innumerable amounts of these cocksuckers, flushing this shit out of my system. I was dead inside. I was basically, the way I'm seeing it now was, I was like basically dead inside, like literally dying inside. And the only thing that gave me life was the parasites and the bacteria that was living and thriving as long as I kept on feeding them and giving them what they wanted. And then what happened was when I quit giving them what they want, when I quit drinking 3 years ago, and then I quit this, and then I quit that, and then I quit this, and then I started looking into this, and then I just dedicated my life to healing, dedicated my life to figuring out, dedicated my life to fucking doing what was right, I know to be right. That's when the changes came, man. And guys, this hasn't been that long. You know, I've only been eating raw, and I've only been eating whole raw foods for a year and a couple months, I think. A year and a couple months, like 14 months. In 14 months, I have made so many goddamn breakthroughs. It is unfucking real. This is going very fast, this healing, but it, you know, even though it seems like it's going close, because when you're suffering, it's excruciating. You feel every second of every moment of every day. That's why it's easiest to just lay in bed and just become hard and encrusted, and you know, to where you can't move your joints, and it's just like you're getting taken over, man. So you know, it took, what I'm trying to say is, it took getting cleaned out. It took me proving to myself that it's really me. Hey, Richard, this is really me that's making these changes. I'm not making us uncomfortable and putting us in these positions that, you know, for laughs, for giggles, for entertainment, for ego, for notoriety, for any of these things. I'm doing it for us, man. I'm doing it for our health. I'm doing it for our healing. And it took me 14 months of doing that day in and day fucking out, and before I was able to flush enough. And then my inner child that they've been keeping fucking hostage from me, that I haven't been able to access again for the past few months, was finally able to scream out to me last night. So I'm laying in bed, and okay, so I knew immediately what to do, guys. I knew immediately what to do, because I started taking these huge breaths in and then just humming out. And it was like, man, everything, like every energy, everything that the enemy had possible to pull out to prevent me from making that contact, because it was like real far away, you know. And I could see, I was like in the hallway of my house up in Burke, Virginia, you know, when I was real little, around 4. It just, that's where it brought me. And I could see my you know, 4-year-old self in the room, and like, but it was like the hallway was like a fucking mile long. And then, you know, I'm just like, hold on, Richard, hold on, man. And I could hear him, like, you know, you don't hear, it's not like that. It's like this resonating feeling throughout your body. That's the realest thing you've ever felt in your life. There's no denying it. There's no saying it's something else. It is what it is. And so, you know, we're communicating like that while I'm laying there. I'm just like, man, just give me a minute, Richard. I got you, buddy. I got you. I'm sorry I haven't been there. I've been trying to reach you, bro. I'm figuring this shit out. I got this. Look, don't be afraid. I'm gonna be making this noise, you know, and I'm humming, right? I'm doing my breathing and my humming. And every time I hum, it took me about 10 fucking times of breaths of humming before finally I was able to get it fucking really vibrating up in my nose, and I could feel it just clearing out shit. And then all of a sudden, that distance that I could see and barely hear him from all the way back there, that distance was like it was real life. He was only like 6 feet, 7 feet away. Like I was actually in the hallway and he was right there, you know. And so then I cleared the air. That it was like that was clearing the air. That humming was clearing the air, and it was creating an environment, like it was almost like a frequency that they could not be in. So like the things that he was communicating telepathically when we had that distance was, help me, you know, they are all around me, they're scaring me. It's extremely scary. I'm afraid. I'm scared to death. I can't come out. I can't move. I'm frozen. You know, so I was able to clear about 15 breaths later. Whew, I was able to clear and get that close. And then I just started telling him, I was like, look, man, I was like, oh my God, Richard, don't be afraid, dude. And I just sat there and I had the most intimate conversation with my 3 or 4 year old self. I was crying. I was speaking so clearly to him so that way a 3 or 4 year old could understand everything that I've been fucking saying. And I'm just telling him, look, these are all the steps I'm doing, Richard. I'm here, brother. And I told him, I said, look, you want to start, you want to do, you know, all that candy, you know how you like that candy? Get away from that. Quit eating that, buddy. That stuff's going to destroy us when we're older. You know how grandma, you know, every once in a while, grandma will, you guys go over to grandma's house and she'll do her juicer, because my grandma had the Jack LaLanne juicer back in the day, right? And she'd make these juices, but we didn't want anything. My mom would make fun of her, and then we'd go and get fucking McDonald's or whatever, you know what I mean? So, you know, my mom wanted to act like this naturopath and all this shit, but it was like she had to constantly go against whatever her mom said, you know? So like there's definitely some there's something weird going on with the women in my family, and I think this is where it started. And I think it started with my grandma. Maybe before her, but it's something to do with a very extremely negative, feminine, toxic energy that is not good. That has been passed down, that has been crushing the souls and eating the lives out of my family members for I don't know how long. So I had this conversation, and I'll tell you, it felt like 2 minutes, but when I finally ended up breaking out of this, man, it felt so good. I was so really, he hugged me, like not even physically, I could feel us embrace each other. And it was, I experienced love for the first time in my life. I experienced love, what it feels like, that feeling, the feeling of love, true love. I felt it, and I just cried and cried and cried, and I just couldn't believe it, man. I was like, oh my God, and it just became so clear that I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and you know, it takes this work, it takes this dedication, it takes this proving to myself before that younger self trusted me enough to reach out last night, and I could hear him, because there were too much built up things that I've consented to over the years that I've piled into myself with the animal slaughter, the sexual deviancy, the lazy-mindedness, the shucking of personal responsibility, the undisciplined living, the nonchalant attitude towards life and what it means, the running away with fear all the time and not facing shit, the hoping that there's a savior and someone coming to rescue me, the hiding and hoping things are just things are just going to get better and I'll come out when things are better, the gaslighting to myself that it's all my fault, all of this stuff, guys, it's all being put in our minds by these little microscopic parasites that are controlling everything. Again, the Matrix is definitely using these things. So I had this breakthrough, man, and it was like the biggest weight got lifted off of me, and I slept so good last night, and it was so powerful because, you know, I was like, when I was leaving afterwards, like I'm laying there, you know, and I had to keep I guess a couple minutes, few minutes, I would be like, okay, Richard, hold on, buddy. I could go back into that breathing, and I'd show him, and I'd do my breathing, and I'd what is this? I'd hum and get that vibration going through my nose, you know, and I was teaching him, and I said, you know, because I've always liked to hum, dude. I've been humming and whistling, like, but I quit doing it the past, like, probably 6-7 years. I really just, like, I noticed it went away, and I'm like, that's weird that I quit doing it. And but I was a huge hummer and whistler my whole life. So I just, you know, I just gave my younger self everything he needed to hear that he never got from a parent, you know, on how to properly live and how to fucking function and what things are and what not to be afraid of. And, you know, I told him about the old man behind the curtain that makes everybody scared of him, and that just never be afraid to think for yourself and think different and speak your mind, you know. And I told him those are the only things that are going to make any difference in your life is complete honesty and courage. And so yeah, that's what happened last night, and that's what's going on. And so, you know, I didn't want to feel like I was rushing off to go seek entertainment or distraction, you know, coming out of all of that experience. And So it's like, Richard, I was like, is it okay if I go now? Are you okay now? And he's like, yeah. And I just assured him that, you know, I'm here and I'm taking all the steps necessary, and how we have to, it's really important how everything he says, thinks, and does matters. And he said, yeah, you know, and he thanked me and he understood. And it was like I was talking to the most incredibly intelligent person I've ever come across, but he was only 3 years old. Oh, man. I'm telling you guys, we are so powerful, and we have so much, and we have just been relegated to nothing, to parasitically controlled, apathetic, parasitical end users, really, you know. And we've given up our authority and all of our powers for a fake version of it. And that's what's going on, man. So I hope this helps somebody, and I'll get more into it later.